In the final desperate months of World War II, the skies of Europe became the stage for a duel no one could have imagined just a few years earlier. On one side, the North American P-51 Mustang, a sleek, long-legged thoroughbred, its Merlin engine screaming as it escorted bombers deep into the Reich. On the other, the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, a machine so advanced that many German pilots swore it looked like it had come from the future. The Mustang had already carved its legend by 1944. With drop tanks, it could fly to Berlin and back, something the Spitfire and Thunderbolt could never dream of. It wasn't just fast. At 440 miles per hour, it was untouchable for most piston fighters above 20,000 feet. Luftwaffe aces like Adolf Galland admitted the Mustang was the perfect escort. But when the Me-262 appeared, the word perfect suddenly felt fragile. The jet could slash through bomber formations at nearly 540 miles per hour, its 30mm cannons tearing B-17s apart in seconds. Against a Mustang, the speed gap was brutal. In level flight, the Me-262 could outrun and outclimb the American fighter with ease. Pilots called it a blowtorch with wings, and many believed it could have changed the entire course of the war if deployed sooner. Yet speed alone doesn't make a killer. The Mustang still had claws, agility, range, and the ability to loiter above German airfields, waiting to pounce on jets when they were weakest. The true question was simple. In a duel between piston and jet, who really held the advantage? Was the Me-262 truly unbeatable in the air? Or did the Mustang's tactics expose its fatal weakness? Comment your take. Speed versus survival. To many German pilots, the Me-262 felt like flying a lightning bolt. It climbed at nearly 4,700 feet per minute, faster than any Allied piston fighter could hope to follow. In a shallow dive, about which machine was faster? It was about which pilot could force the other into the wrong fight. The Mustang couldn't turn tighter, climb steeper, or outrun the Me-262. But it didn't need to. It only had to strike at the moment when the future jet acted like a clumsy past relic. When legends collided. The first time Mustang pilots saw the Me-262 in combat, many couldn't believe their eyes. It wasn't just faster, it looked alien. Swept nacelles under the wings, no propeller in sight, and a sound like thunder rolling across the sky. For bomber crews, it was terror incarnate. One jet could shred a formation of B-17s before escorts even reacted. Yet history records something surprising. Despite its futuristic aura, the Me-262 was far from untouchable. Mustangs began stacking victories. By war's end, they claimed more than 500 Me-262s destroyed in air combat and on the ground. Some encounters were textbook ambushes. P-51s circling above jet airfields, waiting for takeoffs or descents, then diving in when the jet was slow and vulnerable. Others were moments of sheer pilot instinct, catching a jet during a turn or snapping off bursts while it struggled to accelerate out of danger. USAAF ace Chuck Yeager recalled chasing a Me-262 as it turned too sharply, its engines lagging. The Mustang's 6 Brownings chewed into the jet until smoke poured from its fuselage. Yeager's verdict was simple. The Me-262 was deadly at high speed, but fragile under pressure. Pilots who forgot that were signing their own death warrants. On the German side, Adolf Galland admitted the jet was a wonderful aircraft, but he also cursed its unreliability. Engines needed replacing after barely 25 hours of flight, and fuel shortages crippled operations. In the sky, an Me-262 could outrun a Mustang. Instead, strike fast, zoom away, and force it into situations where speed was useless. Reports told of jets being caught as they throttled down for landing, unable to accelerate again before tracers stitched their wings. The psychological effect was devastating. Me-262 pilots felt the pressure of being prey as much as predator. Every takeoff meant gambling against Mustangs lurking in the clouds. Every landing meant wondering if death was waiting on the runway. The jet, once hailed as unstoppable, was bleeding away its advantage. In the end, the Mustang wasn't just fighting airplanes. It was fighting time, fuel, and fear. And in each of those battles, the Mustang came out on top. Legacy of an impossible duel. The P-51 Mustang versus the Me-262 was more than a clash of machines. It was a collision of eras. One represented the pinnacle of piston engine design, the other the birth of the jet age. Their duels in 1944 and 1945 were short, violent, and often lopsided, not because one was vastly superior, but because each carried strengths the other could never match. The Me-262 was the predator of tomorrow. Blistering speed, devastating cannons, and the glimpse of wars to come. Yet it was betrayed by fragile engines, scarce fuel, and a shrinking Luftwaffe that could no longer protect its own airfields. The Mustang was the predator of today, reliable, long-ranged, and available in crushing numbers. Its genius wasn't in turning tighter or climbing faster. It was in being everywhere the enemy wasn't ready. By war's end, the statistics spoke for themselves. Me-262s managed to destroy hundreds of Allied bombers, but Mustangs and other escorts destroyed far more jets in return. The kill ratios favored the Americans, and the Luftwaffe's dream weapon became a symbol of what might have been. The jet was a marvel, but the war had no patience for marvels that arrived too late. For the men who flew them, though, the story was simpler. Mustang pilots remembered